Melt van Schoor, Gareth Lessing. Welcome to Talking Pigeons.
Thanks, Ross.
A little bit of a different topic, not an individual person that we're interviewing this week, discussing his or her road to pigeon racing. This program, we just want to discuss a little bit in general why we think our sport's declining, why it's expanding in some other countries, namely China, Taiwan, Thailand, Poland, very important there, Melt, thanks. Also the Eastern European countries, why it's expanding there, and what we can and what we should do, because every year we hear guys saying we should. So we just want to get some input from you guys, and then if you can just start off with Melt, how long have you been involved in the pigeons? And
I won my first race when I was 11 years old. So my late father was a pigeon fancier, my uncle was a pigeon fancier, he passed away 2.5 years ago, he was 82. So I grew up in the pigeon family.
Okay, so you've been champion of union clubs multiple times, I don't know, and you've been over to Belgium to select, so you've seen the sport from all different angles. And then Gareth, you've been involved a long time, but you've also been on the administrative side and the managerial side. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so also started pigeons when I was young with the rollers. My brother went off to the army and I looked after his birds for him and I got into pigeons. And then he convinced me to do the racing, I think when I was about 2002. So I've been racing since then. Not quite to the success of Melt, but I've led the combines and then lost it at the longs, and that's things we can chat about.
Yes.
I'm not fancy about the longs, but you know.
Yes.
And then one of those suckers that gets hired as doing the race secretary and when I was in the PSWU, race secretary, chairman, and this and that. You get your guys that do all the work, and then the other guys that kind of sit and just enjoy the day. So I've had my fair share of the administrative side.
Okay, so that's the two sides of the sport. I've been more on the side of Melt. I've been a little bit on your side, but it's not my plan. I've been more on Melt's side. So obviously the first question, why is the sport declining? Because we can't deny, although we hear that it's growing in Cape Town or the Cape Province, why is it declining? Why do you think, Melt? And then I'll answer you from some questions I've asked guys in the shop here.
So I think we need more specialists in South Africa. And this stage is an all-rounder because you're the champion, we do everything all round. We should more focus on short distance, middle distance, long distance, sprints, and have champions in each category. So if I want to keep a small bunch of birds and then just sprint, you need to be allowed to do that. But now a lot of these organizations go and say, you will fly 3 races. If you're in a 20 bird scheme, you're going to fly all 3 of them. You have to do young birds, old birds.
So you have to pay for all
others. So the whole thing. So, and to me that's wrong because there's pensioners that said to me now. One of my mentor packed up the other day, Billy Bosch. After 50 years consecutive racing, because he could just not afford it anymore. So I think our younger generations should look after those ones. They were the pioneers of the sport, and they actually paved the way for us today. So when they're getting older, we should put something in place to keep those guys going and have a training facility on the union trucks or the combine trucks or whatever. But unfortunately, pigeon sport is a very selfish sport. I mean, I grew up in it, and it's all about there's money involved. So, but declining, it gets to a point where I have to keep a lot of pigeons because I want to be union champion. So, what does union champion actually mean? I mean, what is it better than a sprint champion or a short distance champion or a middle distance or a long distance champion? But I'm not allowed just to race the long distance. because there's no facility for me if I just want to race there. They want to get rid of that, so, you know, that to me is the problem. And then the packages. You need to look at a 5-bird team, a 10, a 15, and a 20, and maybe a 40 bird for the wealthy guys that can afford it. Because he subsidized the guy that can't afford it. But now we're so narrow-minded because he's going to win me but I always ask the guy, if that guy races 5 teams, let him race the 5. Because yeah, but now he's going to beat me. But if there's 5 other fanciers that will be in the club, you still would have been beaten. So we need to look at the broader side in make it easier for people to raise pigeons, not harder.
So what you're saying is more of a choice.
Yeah, a choice that if I just want to keep 30 birds, that I will be able to be a champion in a certain category that's been recognized to say that guy is the best sprint champion in South Africa. But now we de-water that we say now sprints is like a training. No, there's specialized people in sprints. You can go learn by them.
It's an art.
Exactly. So it is on the long distance. So
yes,
middle distance. And these guys that has got the thing going that can win all of that, I give credit to them. But maybe they've got the whole team backing them, doing all the work. Is maybe the whole family involved. Where the poor guy is only him and his wife, maybe, or at least
or a junior,
especially your pensioners. I mean, juniors come and go, they still got all the energy to do it. But your pensioner with all the knowledge, now you close the library because all the knowledge, that guy just say, I'm finished, I can't go, and then he's out of the sport.
Okay, interesting. Gareth, your opinion on that?
Yeah, a lot of what Melt's saying is spot on. I mean, we had also a pensioner, older guy, leaving our club this year. As one of our first meetings got together and we hear he's leaving. And you start thinking, okay, has he got an issue with one of the guys, is politics getting to him? But eventually we found out that it's because he couldn't just fly the sprints. And so he was out of there. And why? Because the union said, sorry, if you don't fly the whole lot, you can't fly with us. You can't just fly the sprints. So there we've lost a friend. Okay, not just a fancier, we've lost a friend who has been there in that club for years. His dad raced in that club. He's gone. And I think it's almost like the unions and organizations seem to think they have this luxury of abundance of members, that the sport's going crazy and there are just so many members. We don't have that luxury. That's dwindling fast. So you don't really have the right to say, you can't do this, you can't do that. And to your point, man, you need to open it up, you need to go, right, let's all get together and let's go, you can have this option or that option or that option, and we need to, and not be lazy, because I think it's a lot of laziness is just used to doing the same thing the same way over and over. Don't be lazy and say, okay, well, there's this bunch that wants to fly like this, let's make that, let's put that effort in, let's put it into the admin. Yes, it's more admin, but do it, because that's going to be the result of keeping those kind of fanciers in.
I totally agree with you, because my way of looking at it, if you've got a big business organization, then you've got a CEO and the board of members and everyone, then they pay the bottom of the food chain, if I say, they pay their salaries. But in a pigeon organization, the bottom of the chain pays to the top. So now you've got a committee that sits there and dictate to people what they should do and what they shouldn't do, but they're actually paying to do what they need to do. So to me, that's completely wrong. You give the guy the option. I'm spending my money to where it's the best for me. And I don't need to be forced to do something because they think it will be better for everybody.
Actually, what you mentioned, a friend of mine, Taiwan, mentioned to me in the last week or so, and I think you spot on, he says the committees are going on as if there's a luxury of the abundance of pigeon fanciers. You don't want to fit in here, go to the next organization. You don't want to race our system, go to you don't want to race with our rings, go. We don't have that luxury, and we're not making space for choices.
Again, make it easier. Just make the options and everything easier. Don't limit people because, like you say, a thing like rings. we get issued on the 1st of January. Then another guy gets issued the 1st of May. But the whole thing, all over the world is, the year is 2024. The ring is 2024.
No, I can't agree with you more.
So why don't you issue the ring on the 1st of January? It's a 2024 ring. Whenever you like to breed, it's up to you.
But then some guys say it's unfair.
What is unfair? I mean, it's unfair to have more money than the other guy. That's also unfair.
Yeah.
Or more knowledge, or whatever. The thing is, Russell, you've been in boxing now. We had a conversation so many times. You get a boxer with a long reach, long arms. You've got a boxer the same weight, short arms. It's all about technique. Then you outsmart your opponent with something else. We haven't got, not everybody is as wealthy as another guy. And I can't go to the guy that is more wealthier than me or the guy next to me or whatever and say to him, this is the way you need to do the sport because I can't afford it. No, you give him the option that he likes, but it will benefit me to the end as well because I will also score out of it. Because I keep him in the sport, I'll be in the sport, and the guy that's behind me will also be there because if you've got a 5-bird package for this guy and a 100-bird package for that guy, he makes it. You know how many trucks are running empty? We went to our truck last year. I took the torch. The baskets was like empty. And now we buy from Rob a certain amount of baskets. So I said, so why don't we make another race? And everybody, yeah. And so the whole thing was empty.
Because it's a mindset, man. It's a mindset. And I think it's a discussion that's needed to look at it. Because what Mel's saying there, our new chairman, Frick Smith, has come up with an idea that on the longer races he wants to have guys put in extra birds if they want, but actually, obviously they've got to pay for those birds now. So that the trucks can be fuller running for the further race points, you know what I mean? So, because from race 1 to 10, it's pretty much full.
Yeah.
But just getting back to Mel's point, and I get your point of view on this. So on my last trip overseas, I met Gino Click. Mel knows him as well. He races 600 birds on a weekend. So you race 600, no one complains.
Yeah.
Because the guy that races 10 birds, another guy which Mel also knows I met there, a guy by the name of two brothers, the Van der Heerde brothers.
Yeah, Freddie and Jacques van der
Freddie and Jacques. He says to me, I love to race against the guys with 300, 400 with my few birds because I get a kick out of beating them with my small team.
Yeah.
So shouldn't we start changing our mindset that whether the guy races 20 or 40 or 8, whatever he can afford, I don't want to beat his selected, I want to beat his loft.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mark?
Because, numbers is just a perspective. Because I went to Gerrit Koopman.
Yes.
And he races a lot of birds.
Yes.
But he was complaining about Verkerk is racing 500 birds. So what about the guy that complains because Koopman is maybe racing 200?
Yeah.
So the other guy 100, the other guy 50. To me, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And if you get the quality birds, and then look at the Janssen brothers and the leaders in the sport. They were, look at Van Loon. The poor guys, little pigeons, but they actually bred the best strains.
I can give you an example. One of the best races I've thrown against in my career is a guy called Andries Small. And Andries flew a 10-bird limit against guys flying 2 teams, 3 teams full. And Andries was union champion.
But if you go handle these birds, handle the stock,
yes,
then you can realize why he did it.
So it is possible, Mark. That's what I'm saying.
It is possible, Russ, but I think if you look at the odds generally, if you take the entire year, someone who flies 600 birds versus someone who flies 200, you're going to look at the odds for the whole year. Chances are the guy with 600 birds is going to outdo the guy who flies 10. That's not the point. That's cool. The guy will have his chances where he beats him, and that's an amazing day.
The option.
Yes, it's the option. And all you need to do, and this is why I say we get lazy, is we go, no, we don't want to have to pull in for different races, a 10 bird, a 15 bird.
But I think
But
the
there's such
computer
a-
program
Exactly, that's my point.
It's not
That's
an
my
issue.
point about we need to, as administrators and decision makers, we need to stop being lazy and go, well, we're not going to do this, we're not going to, just because we don't want the admin. Then what are we doing at the end of a race? We get to shake the guy's hand and go, well done. It's such a lack of moment. So you got your main race, well done. Here's the 10 bird race, so and so won the 10 bird race. There's more congratulating, there's more celebrating, there's more saying well done to other fanciers. What's wrong with it? It's a little bit of extra work going, here's the 10 bird results, here's the 15 bird, here's the 20, here's the overall. It's fine, doesn't matter. It's you coming back to the club, which I think we're losing as well, all this sort of fly in the sky, see where your birds come and stay at home. Part of what I love about the sport is going to the club and talking about the times and the little stories pop up and whatever. The guy goes, I'm flying 20 bird, I'm only flying 10 bird, you're flying 50 bird. I think my time's good. That's the whole fun. So it's fine. Bring out those extra results. We look at all the things in the world, Olympics, this, that, whatever. The more you can hand out and say, you did well there in that category, well done, you did well there. So what? And when you're telling people well done and you're acknowledging people, what do? They go home happy, they stay in the sport. They don't go, well, yes, I'm flying against the 600 birds. I actually did really well, but I'm not getting acknowledged. So on those days that he doesn't beat the guy that's flying 600, you still acknowledge him. So that's what they want you to fly, like you said, Melt. I want to fly 10 birds, I've got my small team, they just acknowledge that one there. And that comes down to guys like me and the race secretaries or whatever. Yes, we'll do that extra result.
And getting on to Melt's point, I was at the Blackpool show recently as well. And there, so much attention is not so much, but a lot of attention, the same attention I should say, is also given to, they got a club they called the 2-bird and the 5-bird club.
Yeah.
And those birds, you win the 5-bird club,
Yeah.
it's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah.
You win that 2-bird club, you're only allowed to enter 2.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys are pensioners and they're midweek races. But those birds get recognised, exactly what you're saying. So
and Russ, I think what's happening is, if I think to like the union sort of annual meetings and that, you go, it's only a couple of the guys from all the clubs that go, it's the same thing, guys, this is what we're doing, this is the program, blah, blah, blah. It's a repeat every year. There's not a lot of listening from the top down, sitting with the young fans and saying, how would you like to race?
I think it's changing now, because I had a podcast with Rona and Rob Lambie, and they pretty much open to listening. From what the feeling I got from them, they're pretty much open to listening and change. And
But the whole, everybody needs to start doing that, because what happens now, they're opening to listening, and they create a few things, then people start migrating to try and fly there, because we need to be a country of, when you talk Belgium, it's Belgium, there's a street, in Belgium it's the street, then it's the club, then it's this, but it's all one. You all have the same options, but it's all one. So eventually you can go, it's the best bird in the country, what's the best bird in Gauteng, what's the best, you know what I mean? We need to just, there's so many breakaways because of that. This person listens, does this difference, then people migrate to there. And it keeps splitting and dividing it versus, we should all have those options in one organization.
You agree with that, Mel?
Yes, and the thing is, to me, I would actually like Rob to come to the organizations and say, listen, my truck starts running at the 1st of June, for example, and this is my race program. This is the cost to it, and that's it. Then all this clever Trevors will have to fall in, and you fit in, it's these things. And now, if you start racing with that, he's the guy that actually supplies the transport. So we're getting to the longer distance. We don't have trucks running on the road that's half, quarter full, and he fills up a truck. You can have different liberations. I always say, liberate whenever you want to, but go on one transport as much as you can. Now, I mean, I don't want to hit you, but PSWU decided to go west this year.
Yeah, we've done it once before, it's a disaster. they haven't learned from the past. We've been out there, there's no water.
That's one thing, but have you seen the sunrise in the winter? It's a slow sunrise with a dusky thing. Now, you liberate your birds at 7:30. And then they say, Yeah, a bird doesn't use his eyes to fly. He uses his ears and his senses and whatever. Yeah, that's correct. But why doesn't he sense the wire? If he's behind the pack and the pack lifts up and he flies straight into that wire. So the sun on the western route, the sun is directly into their faces. The whole route of sunrise, and then your day shortens from west to east. So your longer distances, you get shorter days in racing. So I mean now,
I don't know why they would want to race. The other reason I wouldn't race, because I get a lot of guys in the club here from that area, and as I said, the roads are not up to scratch for the trucks.
That's another thing. So,
but that's Rob's call. But I'm just saying that's
okay. We went to Freddy van der Heide. We were sitting at a table. I'll never forget that day. I've learned something from Freddy that I have never in my whole career thought of. He was sitting there and he said, you never, especially an old bird, change his route where he races. Now there's a lot of guys. I've also raced north and south and birds winning both sides for me and ending up good. But it's one or two. But Freddy's belief is you don't change the route. So I've asked him, Mr. van der Heide, why? He says the bird knows exactly where the water on the road is. Exactly. Because he races it for year in and year out. He waits, say south. He knows where the water holes is, how far he can push himself. Now you switch him completely out of that to a different route. And now he doesn't know how far they must go before. And that's what Mr. van der Heide, one of the best fanciers in the world, told me. So now in South Africa we say, I just race wherever the truck goes and whatever this. I mean, you'll see what's happening with these guys. If they carry on to race on that, they're going to have a very, very hard season. One year the WRPA, the West End Union, decided to go east. And a lot of guys said to them, you're making a mistake. I think they came to escort. They had an urgent union meeting. 3/4 of pigeons were gone. And the old members they can vouch what I told you now. They had to change the route immediately back to the old route.
Martin, I'm talking from our union's perspective. I know when we vote on a route, it stays on there for 5 years, so there's no changes allowed. And I think they'll sort out that.
We had that, Russell. And then...
Because all of that damages the sport and we lose members.
Yeah. And then you get forced, we're going to break away if you don't change the route.
Threats.
You know, all this thing the whole time, we've got this. That's why I say, if you've got a guy that supplies the transport.
So I just want to get to you there. So what you're saying is, we know it's Rob. So if Rob says this is the way we're racing, it cuts out a lot of politics. Which is a negative factor in the game.
Because Russell, you live a little bit more east than I live. And if I can just move this line a little bit over, it's because we all nowadays drawing lines and all these things and prevailing winds and all that. But if, unfortunately in South Africa, here in Gauteng, the N1 route has been the main route that we drove on for years and years and years. So if it doesn't suit you where you live, then you have to move into the line where it is better for you. Unfortunately, we can't all live at the same place. A rugby field would have been nice or open field where we can put all our lofts. But it doesn't work like that in South Africa. So you will know what the thing is, as we've got different liberation times, but the route stays where it is. And it's much safer for the trucks to go on safer route. When you go off the route, I don't know if there's always safe places.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a reality in our country, is the security and safety.
So to me, I've been for a long time now saying, listen guys, the affordability of the sport is to get the trucks full again, and then you need to go all in one direction. The admin around that, you can get past it, smaller trucks collecting the birds, getting to one point, as Rob does it now at the moment, fill the trucks up there, and the trucks leave there from one position where it's the Niceville at the moment, and they spread from out down the south route or if you get a little bit this side or that side, but still the main core of the whole racing must be the end one.
Okay. Then obviously that's one side of it, but the other side of it is the growth factor. So obviously we don't want to lose members, but we're losing and we're not replacing.
Yeah.
We should be replacing with more.
Yeah. I do say we it's not the question for me, because you asked me last weekend, like, how do we grow the sport?
Yes.
I think it's twofold.
Okay.
How do we not kill the sport? Okay.
That's
That is like,
yeah.
how do we not kill the sport, and how do we grow the sport? So I think we've touched on some of the how do we not kill the sport, and just last little point on that is,
Okay.
if you take any brand, you take, iPhone, this, that, whatever, they don't just go on their laurels. They don't carry on their laurels. They all get together and they will go, guys, let's do once, when people get away at Borsbarat or whatever, and you sit there and you go, let's, because people don't like that. They don't like to sit in an uncomfortable situation. They like to just have a simple solve and not have to fret about it and carry on. It's tough to sit and ask hard questions. And I don't think the sport has done that enough. So when you get together and you go, right, what are the tough things, what are we doing wrong, and you find solutions. I think that has to be done. I think we haven't done that as a country for a long time. And don't just bring all the top names in. Bring some of the youngsters in. Bring someone who's been flying 1 year and ask them to speak and say, what do you think of the sport? Your first night in the club, what did you notice? Get the real stuff.
You heard from a novice here now outside. He said,
couldn't believe the politics. He was like, sure, I thought I had to learn the sport, the pigeons and everything. He's like, sure, I'm going to learn this politics because it's hectic. Immediately there, let's not be these older guys that go, listen, Lati, don't come here with your issues with politics. Yes, if we've been over the top and chasing people away, let's admit that. Let's work on it. So I do think as a brand, that's what you do. You go, where are we buggering up our brand? Where are we going wrong in our brand? So that's how to not kill it. But then again, also what brands do is they go, okay, we've supplied, if you just take like a phone for example, remember the old phones, flip up, pull or whatever, they can't keep supplying that, thinking that's fine. They keep having to advance, grow up, improve, see what the market wants, talk to people, and that I think is so important as well, is talk to people and work out where your market is. The market for getting youngsters and then into the pigeon club used to be when the kids were outside naturally. They weren't inside, they were outside. Dad was flying the birds or granddad was flying the birds. They would see them, they would get exposed. Those kids aren't as much outside anymore. So look at your market and go, where the market, how do you put the sport in front of people? Because that's how it was. My brother went to the army, I was outside, I watched him doing the things, I said, cool, I'll do this, because I was outside kicking the ball. Nowadays that's not there. So you have to look at your market. Every brand looks at the market and says, what is the habit of our potential customer? And then go, all right, how do we put the brand in front of it? We have to do the same. How do we put the sport?
So maybe like a Facebook.
So there's so many ways. So I'm obviously I'm in marketing and advertising.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
There's so many ways to get a brand in front of somebody. There's live events. There's like you say, social, this, that. But you want to maybe you can tweak interest on social and that, but you still want guys to be able to see the sport. If you had open nights and Thursday nights, you had a big outside. We've got advertising. There's these pigeon clubs in every neighborhood. So put a sign saying open night pigeon basketing night for the sport. Come and have a look. Someone might, with their son, the son might say, oh, let's see what that is. So you've got somebody coming in saying, looking at it happening. That's how this bug of ours bites. I mean, we all know that.
Actually, Marius Klingbill was here yesterday. He had a good suggestion here, saying these one-offs that have the hotspots.
Yeah.
Advertise, invite people, non-fanciers.
Yeah.
Let them come and sit and see the anxiety and the excitement for that first few birds to arrive.
I mean, you've got pet shops, so naturally you've got bird lovers going into pet shops, but you don't see any pigeons kind of stuff. Yeah. Imagine we make a film, we do a docu and it's you can walk in and just see this, and the latte says, "What's that, Dad?" That's how we've got to. You've got schools, you've got hobby eggs.
Yeah.
You don't ever see pigeon racing as hobby eggs.
Yeah.
So I think growing it down to the subject, we can talk more about it, is we can't rely on the old ways that the sport used to grow. It's not going to grow like that anymore. We can see it, it's not happening. We have to find new ways to
When we say who is it up to?
Okay, let me just fill in what he said. I think if you do away with this overall union, federation, whatever champion, because I think that's killing the sport. That's where the politics comes in, because I have to be the champion. Where you've got disciplined champions, it's going to be, for me, because more like the lady can keep their birds. Come learn by this guy, he's a master, and he goes into that discipline. Because the first thing he said, I can't compete because I can't keep a lot of pigeons. So you need, to me the thing is, it's going to be hard to say this, the youngsters nowadays are too lazy. They all couch potatoes, they playing games, they don't want to work. Pigeon sport is hard work, if you don't put that work. So growing it from that side is going to be the hardest you can think of. But to me, is to keep the existing guys in the sport. They're going to be, to me, because you already got a guy, he's already, he's in the sport for, and now it's going tough, so you need to look at something.
I agree with that, but you still need us.
Yeah, you need that, but
you still need
there's
us.
very, very little. Lighties comes in there, and then they fly a year, they get married, they move into a complex. There's no place for a pigeon loft, because they can't afford houses anymore. So I've looked at this thing many times. So now, or they go to a place where it's small and they can keep like 10 birds or 15 birds, maybe they can still be in it. But if you need him to become union champion or want to fly from here to Majestfontein, you can't do that. But I still, there's a lot of old fans, they still got their loft there, they've got everything, but they haven't got the means in the house to raise anymore. Because you force them to go down, make a 5-bird or a 7-bird, take the, why must they pay union subs? Take that away from them. The younger guys, they've paid all their life for it. Make it easier, streamline the packages for the pensioners completely. But let him allow them to be erasing everything, and even the juniors. The juniors should not even pay when it's a true junior. We should actually subsidize the guy to get into the sport and get him. But then again now, I don't like the schoolboy to win me. That's wrong. I would love him to win me. Because I've got a fancy for life.
For life.
Yeah. And so I think you're spot on, Russ. You must look after, and like I say, look, don't kill the sport. Look after the ones that are in there and give them more options. But if we don't, I know what you mean. If there is a perception out there that youngsters are lazy and whatever, but if you look at the things they're passionate about, there's no laziness there. If you look at these guys they create TikToks, they work, they create songs. These guys are not lazy for things they're passionate for. And I think that's what made us not lazy. I can be a full-on lazy blokes, but when you've got a passion, and it's a true passion, then you're not lazy. So that's what when I say growing the sport, exactly, it's finding that kid, because we know pigeon racing and even pigeons is not for everyone. It's that thing that, I've got a tattoo with bloody pigeons on me, It gets into your system and it never leaves you. So like you say, you might have to stay in the flat that year, but the moment you're out there and you bought a house, you're building the pigeon loft before you're moving in there. And our challenge is to put it in front of those people to just see if they have this bug. That's where I think it's not. Like I said, the kids used to be outside with the granddad and the dad.
Okay, so on that point, Gareth, obviously we know the situation in the country. There are very few kids on bicycles on their own, or visiting, like where we grew up, visiting guys with chickens, and then a guy with rollers, and a guy with budgies, and a guy with pigeons, and so that's out the window.
Yeah.
So where do we go from there to ignite it? To you in marketing, so you must have some ideas, Melt.
It's not even just in South Africa. It's Europe. The numbers are declining very, very fast. It's cost, and the thing is, I'm telling you now, myself started getting a mob flyer. I'm not going to get through the season if I haven't got 150 or 180 birds. And that's just a perception. So,
lucky I've never got there.
and then I have to do where you actually should. My mentor taught me, if you basket 5 birds, you must clock 5 birds.
Yeah.
So if you get back to the basics again, How, I can tell you, I can take you to a lot of guys and say, okay, here's the race team, select 5 birds that you're going to enter in here. He says, no, I'm flying on statistics, so my stats will show me what to fly. So you need the numbers for stats. So you can't have 10 birds or 15 birds that you race and you select the 5 or the 2 or the 3. So that's the art of racing coming back. We need to go back to that. Myself, I mean, my health is not 100%, so I have to cut down on my numbers of birds that I keep in my yard. And that's just the way it is. And then the cost to feed those birds and to keep them healthy. The vet bills are getting higher because everything is...
Everything's increasing, but you know, I often have that debate here in the shop where a guy comes in and says, yeah, this pigeon sport's becoming too expensive. Then I say to him, I'll name 10 hobbies and guarantee pigeon sport will be the cheapest. So why that perception, I don't know. Because if I can go, and then I'll answer that what Marius told me yesterday, and maybe you guys will agree or disagree. But you can just name a few hobbies. Like I know a friend of mine's gone hunting this weekend. This week, 4-5 days. What it cost him to go hunting, the accommodation, what they're shooting, without the rifles, without the ammunition, cost much more than my season.
Yeah.
That's a hunting. I've got friends that go deep sea fishing. Without their boat, which, I mean that's, without their boat, just the equipment and the week away, it's normally a week, 10 days away, cost me much more than my season. I've got a friend that does bow hunting. I've got a friend that does specimen fishing. I've got a friend that does off-road, because I've questioned all these guys, off-road motorcycling. I've got a friend that does this quarter mile, he's also a pigeon fancy by the way, this quarter mile racing. And Melt, you in the car game, you all know that's a killer expense, but none of them complain about it.
Yeah.
But the pigeon guys will complain about, and I don't know if it's our own fault that we saying everything's so expensive when these other we got more control of our expenses where we can keep fewer pigeons race fewer. These other guys not. Just to give you an example of the club on the Vaal Dam going there when I toss pigeons. The size of that club, they can't all fish together now, the club, they can't. Just their membership, it's the one club there now, is on 35,000 members. 35,000 members. The guy that's gone hunting now says we have to take this now because all the farms are fully booked for the rest of the hunt season. So they've had to go now. We're talking about our trucks are running empty at the end of the season. Somewhere I'm missing something somewhere.
Look, I think when it comes to expensive, I think we talk up all the products. So we go, what did you use this? And it eventually becomes this thing, I have to have all these products. My budget for my pigeon racing has been coming down every year. My wife says to me,
maybe we should budget.
And my wife says to me, sorry, you only got this much to spend this. So I'm going, okay, how do I win on less? How do I win on less? How do I win on less?
Get rid of your wife.
then I'll have even less budget, trust me. So I just spend like crazy. And there were guys I flew against that used to feed chick and this and that. I knew they didn't have money. The guy owned a little TV shop and he would kick our ass. And we've made the perception is that you need the money and you need all the mooties to be able to win. You don't. Some of the best birds you get, you go buy this bird for 10 grand, he gives you one free. That's the one that wins. So that's one that breeds the winners. So I think we've made it expensive. I think you can still win and you can still do very well through keeping the prices down. So I think we make that excuse for ourselves. Okay. Fuel, absolutely, but there again, talk to the mates, get together. When you're going to go toss the birds, get together and do it. Don't go, I'm going to go on my own.
Yeah.
That's
work around the cheap. Work around
that is hard. I'm telling you, and I think that's the thing that we really have to start thinking of. I'm in the West End, and I'll tell you, there's very few guys in the West End training together. Very, very, very few. I mean, I take now a union like the guys in Poch, they're allowed to fly 13 birds a week, young and old. And then you still got guys breeding 120 babies to raise 13 a week. So yesterday, the thing is, for me, I have to say to myself, well, I have to get back. The years that I really flew well, I had like 68, 60, 70 birds. Complete old birds, yeah, but okay, we had 10 bird limit. But still, that's where you raise, you knew every bird. Now, if a bird wins, and I said to myself, okay, where's this bird? Now they start running around in the loft there. I mean,
But now that comes back exactly to the point you made about that person is breeding those 120 because they have to be union champion, so they have to have so many birds. Whereas if that person's got that option to fly short and middle, 10 birds, they don't need that size. And they don't need me. I'm not mad about the longer distances. If you said to me, you can fly short and middle and whatever, I go fantastic. Then I breed my 30 babies and that's it. Suddenly it's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
So
And for me, I'm completely opposite again. I love the long distance.
And that's cool. But and that's what our organizations need to cater for everybody and not go, no, if you don't do it this way, bugger off. We don't have the luxury.
And the thing is, if you really think of, I like long distance, but now our birds get selected for short, middle, and you neglect the long distance birds. But if you go long distance and you say, listen, guys, we've got like a training flight 350 and then a training flight 450, and we start at 600 or 650 and we fly 10 weeks around there, something like that, then you can, the East Rand and the West Rand and the North Rand or whatever can fly together, because on the distance, don't tell me this bird's got an advantage. They race there and they've got so much time to think where they're going that they can't
So
go.
less excuses, you say.
So yeah, there's excuses. But on your shorter distance, you've got such a less time for a margin for error.
Yeah.
The bird just breaks in the wrong pack, he's going to be behind. Where on a longer distance, you can pick up everybody, have one liberation, and it's not going to cost you more than at the moment. Because I feel I subsidize in this stage, say sprints, short distance, middle distance, but my forte is maybe long distance. But now, like you don't feel to pay for the long distance because you don't like to fly there. But I also don't like to pay for the shorter distance because I don't like to fly there.
Yeah.
Because I might not live in the 100% position for the short distance. I'm better because on the longer distance, the spread is better, it's wider, it's more fair to me. And again, it's my perception. So I want to like to go basket or race where I want to go race. And like-minded people. Because if me and Russell got more than the same birds, and it's distance birds, then we mingle. But now I have to keep sprinters, I have to keep a short middle long, and extreme long. I mean, how many pairs you go up to now? You can't keep 10 pairs.
It's not about the place. It's about you being able to pick that.
Exactly.
Pick on that menu. Go, I want to do there, and not have to leave your club, leave your organisation to go fly another way. You should just have that menu in there.
An interesting fact there that Melt's mentioned that, because previously I never used to believe that short, middle, long.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the university in Belgium, but they've done a study, and they've done short, middle, long distance birds.
Yeah.
The top birds have all got the same genetic code. So you do get short distance, you do get middle, and you get long. Okay.
Well, just look at the Olympics and look at the track.
Yeah.
When the 100 meter lines up, they certainly don't look like the 15,000 meter line. They're completely different. Animals.
And the thing is, can I just say that? Say there's like a long distance club in Gauteng. I only need to drive there once because with the life systems that we've got nowadays, you can strike out from home.
See, that's where that's like I'm going. My brain's going. Because why have to create now a club for long distance? Why can't a club cater for it all? This is what I'm going to... Now you must go to a long distance club.
But that's what Melt's saying. It's up to someone like Rob Lamy to say, this is what it's going to cost for that. Because Rob could pick up at all the clubs, because he does say anyway, and then put them all on one truck at the National, I think you said.
Yeah, the National.
And then only one truck goes to Lugamka.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of 6 trucks,
Yes, absolutely.
all half empty,
Yeah.
because we've all paid it, so the transport's paid.
So when you say go to a club, you just mean to bask.
Yeah, but
it's not now leave the club.
No,
you're in,
no,
go
no,
somewhere.
no,
But there's something like that, because
Yeah.
a lot of fanciers pull out and say, no, you're going to have the option to say, I want to just fly this, so I'll pay for what I fly.
Yeah.
So the truck will be full. But now, if I want to fly a long distance and Russell and the other guy, that truck will also maybe be full.
Yeah.
Because then we pay extra for that. So I've got an option racing in my own club for there, and then the truck will be
So I mean, it's a no-brainer that to maintain it, we need to change the options and the choices.
That's the thing.
But now, Gareth, where we touched just now is to the inflow, the influx.
Yeah, new members.
How do we, what's
So-
your point of view there?
Look, I think any brand that comes to us when we're going to do marketing for them, if we just go, right guys, let's go do some things on Twitter, some on this, some on that, let's put something on TV, whatever, and not do our research before, we'd be wasting their money. Okay. So it's not as easy for us to just sit around here and go, cool, let's do this, and
Okay,
try
so
that.
if you say research, what sort of research?
So you have to go, all right, where, for example, what age group, you start asking certain questions. What age group do people generally get into pigeon racing? That's the bug bite, etc. So, and I don't want to get into the whole marketing, I'm going to have guys like falling asleep here, but you will look at that age. When does that, does a person start looking for hobbies, things to get into at a certain age? You will find that. You will see what they do, what media they absorb, where they hang out, where they go to school, all that sort of thing. So now you have an age, and you have a consumption
and a target market.
and a target market. So you got your target market. Then you go, all right, because of where they are, now what can we do? So like I said, for example, if these guys have naturally got a love for animals, so birds, lady hamsters, everything, and they go into pet shops, do a video, put it up on their screens in the pet shop. You are exposing people. Like anybody exposes any brand to anybody, you look what they're consuming, you look where they're living, and you put the brand in front of them and you show them this brand and you say whatever you want about the brand. So that's, unfortunately, like it's not something you solve yet.
No,
but
no,
I really
no,
do think
you
if
need-
you're serious, if Sampo, for example, if Sampo are like serious about keeping the sport alive in the country, they'll go, right, let's do some sort of marketing campaign. Let's look at it. Let's look at who and where and how to get people in, and what do we do to get them in. So a video at a pet shop,
Okay, but then my next
so it's a
question,
bigger,
okay, that's a big picture. But my next question would be, just throwing the cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. But why wait for Sampo? Why not
because
start
if there's
at our clubs or at our
because it
level?
does take money. So who's going to pay for it?
The thing is,
But
It does take
it
money.
does take money, but surely we could work out a budget and raise, like we're doing today, a charity
Yeah.
auction, and we pump it into that, and we do. But obviously, I just think,
No, I agree with you, Russ.
I think every year,
we
we've
just
heard we wait for Sampo. Sampo, they have the AGM, and they do try. They are trying. But obviously, we all just sit back and wait for Sampo. Wait for Sampo.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we should be starting on a much smaller scale, and then it will ignite things in Sampo. Because to point the fingers at Sampo every time,
No.
it doesn't work.
I think that the one thing that you mentioned now, just to get sorry, I'm jumping around. Your best age targeting is not your youngster leaving school. That I've seen that over. It's your 30 years, just a little over. He's finished playing rugby. Now he's married. He's got kids. And he's settled. You need a guy that's settled.
Russ, we need you there.
Yeah, for sure. So you need a guy that's settled, and also then you're settled more in your career, and then it's more sustainable to keep those guys. But then politics is a big thing, because they need to learn. But a good idea that we've got is with the one-day lots. where they can allow these guys to obtain a bird from somebody and enter 5 birds, a 5-bird TBR, and make it affordable.
Somewhere to ignite somehow, yeah.
Like we say in Afrikaans, die gogga het omgebyt is.
Yeah.
Bitten like this, you'll be in the sport and you will say, no, I want to try it by myself because I'm in it, I love it. I know guys that they haven't got space, but they race at one day loft and they love the chat there and all that. So that to me is also a real thing. But if I can say to you honestly, if we don't change quickly, pigeon sport in 10 years from now,
that's why we're having this conversation.
It's going to be full on sprints.
Yeah.
Long distance is going to fade away completely due to the cost. Because if everybody wants to, I want to just race long distance, I want to do and this and that, and we don't get together and get onto communal trucks where everybody loads on the side and the transport is running, you're going to be ending up where and sorry, I don't bashing it, but where a wealthier guy is and he can afford to have a H100 bucky that he can rig up there, then you load on a Friday night and clock on a Saturday, and it's more, the big trucks is going to me, I see the big trucks is fading because the memberships are going lower and lower. If we don't get on those trucks, we're going to get a point where the trucks are going to run off and it's going to be so expensive.
It's going to be costly.
So you can do it, but the expense is onto that.
Yeah.
But
that's what we're trying to prevent. That's what we're trying to.
If you don't make a mind shift now and start looking after each other to say, I need you in the sport. So and to the next guy to say, I need you. So already then my agenda will change, and I will have to see how can if I look at our clubs, I don't know when last a new member started on the West End. It's more migrating between clubs.
Yes.
I get a quarrel with you and I'll go to Russell. Russell, then you're basking too early, then you come to Melt. And it's all running around, and that's not the thing. The thing is, we should think of the thing is, and then a lot of guys would say, I'm not a sprinter. So they'll have to get rid of their whole flock and go over to sprint birds and the whole thing, and they say, no, it's not for me. I want to wait for my birds. I want to do that. But if you don't look after it now, in 10 years from now, it will be wrong.
So what we're basically saying is, the solution we think is obviously the bigger picture with Sampo and that, but how do we start something amongst us, amongst our fellow fanciers here on the ground? Because that's where it is happening. You know, to always look to Sampo to hope they start something, and in the Cape they do help a little bit, but you know, and obviously they do a hell of a lot of admin work and control everything. But I don't think they have time to do the groundwork that we suggesting.
I don't think they have to do the groundwork. I think if they get behind something and then however you grow the funds, absolutely. But to your point, Russ, you know, I'm in Edenvale Club. I'm sure there's a potential pigeon sucker there somewhere that I can get into pigeon racing. So
you try every other.
Yeah.
Every time.
So to your point, what can Edenvale Club do to say, hey, here's a pigeon club. If you ever come and visit a pigeon club, come on in. And there might be a dad and or a guy like you're saying who's had other birds, budgies in their life, this and that. They drive past and they go, let me go and check out the pigeon club. This is how we stumble on brands. This is what brands do to us. They put it in front of us and just go, oh, look how cool this is. And you go, let me try it. That's what we have to do. It's how I was when I grew up. It was in front of me. I said, let me go try it, and I was hooked. That is marketing, and pigeon racing is nothing different. We've just got to get it out into front. So whether it be from the club, or the organisation, or the province, whatever it is, we need to start looking at. And I'm not saying it must only be Sampo. No extremes. Let's do the entire thing. Let's look at wherever we can to there was a question I wanted to ask, which was, with all the organisations, feds, unions, this and that, is it the craziest question to say, right, surely you would have Sampo, which is South Africa, and then instead of TRPFs, this RPFs, that RPFs, whatever, Sugar should just be, you've got Western Cape, and then you can divide that up into different Western Capes sections. So let's say you've got Gauteng. You've got Gauteng Pigeon Organisation. Okay? Simple. It's Gauteng Pigeon Organisation. If it needs to be broken up into North, East, West, you've got WGPO. So Western Gauteng Pigeon Organisation. And then there's no these rules there, those rules there, and I want to go to this because of those rules. It becomes very, very cleverly segmented because of what, like a bunch, he has a cluster, so let's keep it that sector, this, whatever. But it's all one. It's all one with what we were saying, all those options in it. So now if I go, right, so I'm still going to be part of the entire, everybody I know, there's the same rules for the entire country, okay? And there's the same options. So if I go to email, I go, I only want to fly 10 birds, I want to fly short and middle.
I think it's basically like, Gareth, it's just the options.
No, it's not. The reason is why our members
except for Audra, okay.
Yeah, but it's not really, like you said, one of the federal unions say, we've got 3 races. This one's only got 2, so now you're not really flying the same.
And Audrey, you can fly all your birds in one basket and now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense that we've got so many different options.
Yeah.
And the only reason is because that guy says, I don't want to fly like this, I only want to fly the sprints. And the union says, well, bugger you must bugger off. So he buggers off. That's killing the sport. Because now he goes to a club, he hasn't been in his whole life. He might love it and be cool, but he might go, this is not right for me, and he packs it up completely.
Yeah.
Now you've lost somebody, so that's the killing it. Whereas if he said, guys, I just want to fly the sprints, and the union said, no problem, we cater for that, that's just this. But why? It's hard work, and it's effort, and it's admin. So now you're going to lose members because you're just so stuck in your way.
100%.
You're so stuck in your way.
Point that we think we've got this abundance of members.
And if you don't like this, bugger off. Well, then we need to be saying, cool, pigeon fanciers, bugger off, and we will lose the sport.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy question. Why can't it just be one organisation, one thing?
Getting back to your point, I think it will be nice to make a video, put the video out there, because I've been racing with Sapper for when they moved to the West End, and I can just speak for them, because I've entered in the other lofts, but for they've got corporate guys that hasn't got a pigeon, they don't possess a pigeon, so they come to me and say, will you breed a punter bird? We've got X, Y, Z, whoever wants to enter. They get it, and then you give them quality birds. You enter it in, and these guys compete there, and they win money there with that, and they enjoy the day with pigeon fanciers, and all of a sudden they start pigeon talking.
See,
So-
that's one way, yeah.
So
This is the kind of thing that comes up when you decide to do some sort of marketing and exposure.
Yeah.
These are the ways. I wear these things, I wear this to work, and I have clients saying, what's that? And then, oh, I race pigeons. You what? And then, you've been places where people say, you what? And some of them, you'll talk to clients and I say, but you must let your son can come around. Oh, maybe we should do that. That's what marketing is. You're getting it out. We're not doing that. We live like this. But yeah, we need to find a way. Those are beautiful stories where that's marketing, get it out. If we don't, we're not gonna attract new members.
Yeah. So it's nice discussing all these things.
Yeah.
Okay, and these ideas and all that. But obviously you need a starting point. So you first, Melt, a starting point.
I would say the one day loft is a very good idea where they can maybe involve a group of guys that pays a couple of bucks and start as a group in there. But you need, like he said, I don't think there's enough marketing to say, listen, are you aware that there is something like this where you can be part of? It just costs you your entry and you will be supplied with good pigeons because at the end of the day, it's still the fancier that donates the birds to use his name to the pigeons. So if you blow this thing up there, I'm very sure. And then you will get to your age where I say more your age is ready to get into the sport. Yeah. And they will say, we 5 guys, we're going to say everybody puts a grand in there, we're going to put like a bird or 2 or whatever in there. Just have something there to be involved. And once they achieve something, that's where I check, then it's exploding.
You, Gareth, a starting point?
It's simple. Every brand has a marketing team. Create a marketing team in our pigeon sport, and it's their responsibility to get the sport out there. That's what marketing does for any of these brands, and that's how you get a brand into someone's hand, in front of them to say, I want to try that product, I want to try that sport. We have to create a marketing team.
But I hear what you're saying, because you're coming obviously from your experience, your work experience. But for Edinburgh, how would that work?
Look, okay, so
just giving you, because our clubs are all dwindling down to 10 members, 15 members, where we used to be 30, 40 members.
Yeah.
So give me an idea or an example of your club growing the membership.
So, like I said,
I understand Melt's point. Getting guys involved.
So there's one, we create the marketing team and do it professionally. Then it's what can we do on the ground, I think is what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking.
Is, you know, my brother had a little boy, the rest of us had girls or no kids, so not that, I mean, Swade, my kids were keen on the pigeons, but never picked it up. But we said to him, hey man, come and sit with us while we wait for the pigeons. And he enjoyed it and whatever, but he didn't bite, you know, in the loft, that sort of thing. So on the ground, invite those families, say, come on man, just, you know, come and hang. So that's what used to be done. So do the basics again on the ground. It's up to members and to show family the pigeons or whatever it is. Then, like I say, at the club, we could put a sign. We're at the soccer fields here at the Edenvale Sports Club. We can do up a big sign and say, you know, we do pigeon racing, we basket on a Thursday night, come in and visit. So on the ground, what else can you do? I think we have to be advocates of the sport and speak about it and introduce it to people. You don't know what you don't know. So if people don't know the sport, you can't expect them to be interested in it. So tell people that, you know, and the guys at my work are so tired of hearing about the pigeon sport when someone else asks. But I lay it out there because it might get somebody interested to come and look.
Then elaborate on that committee that your idea of get a marketing team and they got to do it. Because obviously Melt and I are not marketing oriented, so just to explain that a bit to us and to our members, to our viewers as well.
Yeah, I think if, and it's obviously, like you said, we can't expect Sampo, but Sampo would need to endorse a marketing team, or somebody would need to endorse a marketing team.
Okay.
So, and that is, and I know, Ferdy Kutsa, he's in marketing, you know.
Yes.
Even though, you know, we talk about design and stuff sometimes. So there are people in the sport that are sharp in marketing.
And Ferdy's got some hell of a good idea.
Exactly. So I think, you know, however that happens, but I think a marketing team for pigeon sport, whether it be a Sampo, you know, marketing team or a South African pigeon marketing team, we need to get together. We would obviously need funding. We can't go out there and just create something from nothing. So there needs to be a bit of something. But it's amazing what you can do. I mean, I've worked on Nando's, I've done Nando's ads, All Gold ads, BMW ads, and with creativity.
But what you mentioning there though, which is a hell of a lot different, you working on brands that are proven and world famous.
No, I've launched brands. No.
So that's what I'm asking. What about launching a brand?
Absolutely. So that's what any marketing team would say, right, what is this? Is this a new product going out there? And then you guys seen Pineapple out there, it's a new insurance company. They were never there. They did these crazy ass billboards, everyone was talking about it. That's launching a brand. And you do the same thing. So whether you're launching, whether you're relaunching, whether you've gone quiet or too expensive or this or that, you're always looking at your situation as a brand and doing what's necessary. That's what this marketing team would do. They would go, right, our problem, because you always take a problem. What is the problem with the brand? Our problem is that very few people even know about pigeon racing. We'd start there. And that marketing team would be, right, how do we change from not knowing to people seeing it out there and a way to invite them? That's what our job would be. And that's how you attract people.
You agree with that, Melt?
Yes, I do. Because we're all members of Schoor.
Yes.
So I think we must go higher. Schoor must make it available. SABC2, a slot in there where people come there and say, we've got different categories. We've got one-day lofts, we've got sprints, we've got this. We can do
in every town.
There's a town basically in every town. This is our number. We can refer you to this. Just as an awareness campaign, because we all to give it to some, I think they have also just struggled to keep their noses above the water, but it must go a little bit further. And everybody speaks of the lotto money that's always available, and we must just use the lotto money just to advocate for the sport and say, this is what you can do, and this is what it's about.
It does come down to marketing. Why do you think all of us buy the pigeons we buy for some of the prices we buy? Those guys did hardcore marketing campaigns around their bloodline,
exactly.
And we'll end up paying 20 times a month for the bird that does better, the guy that doesn't market no advice from
You
him.
look at you've been to visit, I've been to visit, there's Pippa.
Yeah,
I mean, their marketing, they can tell you a year in advance
yeah,
what the new bloodline on the box is
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
because of their marketing strategy. So,
and once you kick off a marketing campaign, with these days you can get the results and you can actually track stuff. You can track where the pockets are of people that are interested, and then you start targeting more and more. So there's I know it's like we just want to go and hold our birds and look at the wing and look at this and I just want to fly this distance, but if we want to grow the sport, we have to start looking at it as a business and as a brand, and we have to put it in front of
that's
people.
exactly what Fadi said with our last interview with you, Mark. It's got to become a business.
Yeah.
And you've got to look at it as a business and with managerial positions
Yeah.
and responsibilities. And they got to deliver those results.
Yeah. That's how rugby became so successful in South Africa. They looked at it and they did what was needed, grassroots, this, that. Look what it's done.
Yeah, I'm so proud to say that Transvaal started that.
That's good, I think. But yeah, again, every sport is expensive to start.
Yeah, every sport's expensive. Yeah, that we can't deny.
So, and then to obtain good birds,
No, it's a very good point, Dad. It's a very good point, Dad. It's like if I convince you to buy a Steers burger, when you go there and you try it, you've got to now be able to go back. It's got to be in your pocket. It's got to be tasty. It's whatever. You get that one chance to get someone to try something, and then whether you lose them or not is up to the brand. So you're gonna, like, if you bring someone in, how do you now not overwhelm them with the prices with this? That's where we've got to step up and we've got to take these guys.
Because that's probably the most dangerous area of the sport.
Yeah,
As
that
we all know,
exposure.
is that I can show you. I don't even know how many birds are sold a day, but on the groups I'm on, and as we all know, good pigeons are percentage. But a percentage of being sold
how many
must
you
be.
buy or you like.
Yeah. So that's also a very tricky part, that the newbie gets a decent bird.
Yeah, and gets a melt and a this and a Russell to guide them and help them. You know, we become so like you said, you don't want someone said they don't want the school guy beating them. Really? Then you don't have a love for the sport. You don't have a love for the sport. You got the love of beating and winning. You don't have a love.
And
we need to guide people.
that is the politics that you spoke of.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is a closed book. Boom. That's it. Politics. And that, if you look at clubs, I mean, yes, that guy mustn't do this and this. So I've been since the 80s in pigeon clubs, and people want to strangle each other, and that's the politics. Because a young guy comes and he says, he just asked the wrong question, and then they fall up to it. Or you'll promote, use this this product, and then you don't know nothing, you know. But instead of just taking the guy, and you can just give him a ground plan, a ground plan, just to start off and say, this is the basics that you do in sport. Whatever you do after this, it's where you're going to start to grow. It's like I go to a pro shop and I buy a set of golf clubs. I know I need somebody to coach me. I have to pay, obviously, to get somebody to coach me. And then it's practice and practice and practice. And then I'll go into the golf course and start walking there and see guys breaking clubs there because they can't get to it. It's the same. It's a growing phase. But unfortunately, I've seen guys coming into the sport and they want everything in their lap. And once it falls in there, they'll just stop it and carry on. So that's also not the nicest thing. But I would say if there's a promotion team, they must also then look after those guys, but then identify people that is willing to help and to say, Russell, are you willing to breed this little youngster or this mid-age guy, whatever, 5 birds? Novice, 5 birds, and then you supply it to him, and that's it. So you give him something decent, and you can race with it. Because, I mean, in our own lofts, we don't know what's good at this stage. We can think what's good, but all the youngsters and hope and pray that they will.
Every year you hope and pray.
Exactly, so it's the same. But if you're giving 5 or 10 good birds just to start off, you will soon, they say, sooner than rather than sooner, you will realize, I have to get something better than this. This is good, but I'm going to introduce something else.
I want to improve.
And then
But that's the love of the sport, is we're always trying to...
What's the basis? We put down the basis for the guy. And I think if something comes from their part and go to each union and say, let's start a committee on your side as well. And we want to, you give us feedback.
Yeah.
You've got a Gauteng platform.
Yeah.
You give us feedback on what did you do to spread around that we are pigeon fanciers and this is available. But at this stage, we're all just eating about rings and dope and this and that.
Position.
And that's all common knowledge. That's common knowledge that we've got. And they just discuss this every year again and again and again. And instead of...
That's exactly, Melt, you hit the nail on there. That's exactly why I asked for you guys for this podcast. Because every year, we hear at our AGMs a recap from the year before.
Yeah.
And Sampo's in their minutes will say they are looking at improving and expanding the sport. And I'm sure they do try. But I don't think it's being done, how can I say, it's being zoomed in on specifically. And if it doesn't happen, it's going to die out.
It's that definition of insanity. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome,
Exactly.
that's insanity.
So
it's like a hurdle athlete. You train the whole year, but the last hurdle you fall on the flat on your face. But I'll do it next year again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and that's not the way you should do it. You need to improve yourself. There's a saying in English, you need to raise the bar. If you don't raise the bar, and that's also for organizations, raise the bar. But, just to break something, I've got nothing in common with Rob, business-wise or whatever. But I think for him, putting his neck out, buying all these trucks up to create a business with this.
Mount, and I've been here, I've sat with Rob. Rob is, before you took over, I heard lots of rumors about him and this and that. When you speak to the guy is passionate pigeon fancier.
Yes, I know, Rob.
So he's the right guy, but using his name, but the type of person that he is the type of person could come into that to grow.
Be part of it.
Be part of it.
Because I always worry about saying, Rob, you tell us and we'll just follow.
No.
You come into it, he has the bosperaat and you work out what to do.
Right type of person.
And he's that part of it.
Yes.
But how fortunate we are to have a truck company transporting pigeons. If that guy decides tomorrow, listen, that every organization to start up a truck again and everybody this, and I know there's a lot of rumors, we're going to do this, and the moment they start looking at the cost and the risk, then they say, it's better to go to, and that's why I say, to me, Rob should take a more leadership role there to say, this is what I've got on the table, this is the cost.
I agree with Mel.
And that's it.
I agree with you 100%.
So then all this fighting is over. And
cuts out a lot of politics.
If they want to go out of that and try their own little bucky or trailer or whatever, some person anyway going to nail them with a lot of things because there is rules and regulations.
You've got to comply.
So and then the Rob complies 100%. Even, I don't want to go there, but all these other guys watching over the animals and stuff, the animals get looked after. They've got constant water on the trucks.
But that's exactly when I got to know Rob a little bit more. You can see the guy's passionate. He checks his own birds are on the truck. His son's birds are on the truck. So everything is done 100%.
Okay, but now, who's going to create another company for us like that? And always have another transporter available should anything happen. If you don't look at the luxury that you've got, you don't appreciate that luxury.
amount people don't appreciate, and that's got to take into account. The appreciation, he's doing a hell of a job. So we could speak to him, but he could cut out a lot of politics, which will cut out a lot of that. And then to start off with, we need to find a way to maybe raise some money with a charity auction or something and get you involved with target markets and maybe start small, but
exactly. You can start in a province. You can pick a province and just do that. That's what a lot of brands do. They'll go, let's just focus on Gauteng or even Gauteng North. Doesn't matter. You can start there. It's better than starting nowhere.
Or the West Rand, else Malt's going to feel
excluded. Yes, he said they haven't had a new member for how many years?
Yeah, I mean,
that can be your target.
The thing is, there's members coming from the east end to the west end.
But we're talking about novices.
But that's what I say. You migrate here and there. But here and there, the guy comes there and then he'll vanish because politics. We had guys there. One of the guys that's organising your thing, he was a novice 2-3 years ago. And he couldn't believe the politics in there because, he wanted to buy soul pigeons and, you must do this. And there's so many red tape all over in pigeon sport. And that's why I say make it easier. And this thing of registration of teams and all of this, it always makes me think of the F1. Your champion still wins, whatever penalties you bring in, whatever, the champion still wins. So if we just make it easier for everybody, then there will be less admin, less everything, where you can go there and say, okay, I brought XYZ pigeons or whatever, and you pay per pigeon or whatever you need to do, or sell only 30 pigeons. I went the other day, I said, okay, why don't we go and say, I sell you 50 rings for 50,000 rand. That includes your transport, it includes your prize money, everything. And then you've got the money to raise next year. If you lose your bird, you lose it. And then it will encourage you to get better birds. So if you want to go to the professional side, there's a way to go. But for what they say, young Alaman, the normal guy, make it more options. And credit, like you said. Don't just give credit to the winning bird. The second and the third bird is as good as the winning bird. It's seconds, milliseconds, dividing them. Give a gold, silver, and bronze thing. And a lot of unions just got the best bird, and just got the winning bird, and just give a little bit more credit. And like, again, admin, positions. Why is it so difficult to give 200 or 300 positions in the union, even if there's only 50 members?
Well, they do that overseas, not.
Russell, you know how demoralizing it is to miss the sheet for a novice. Now we say,
you don't have to tell me.
So rather just he would have been so, I've got 70th position. Yes, I'm on the sheet. At least I'm not off the sheet, I'm on the sheet. That's why I say, guys, just open it. Just give these guys acknowledgement. Even if it's down there, he's going to work his way up. But to say, sorry, you didn't get any points this week. I mean, it's not, now it's like 5 weeks, I'm going to stop it. It's not worth the while. But say, if you only give 50 positions, give 100. If you try, just open it. And I had so many fights with that. Then they say, no, it's going to, on the longer distances, there's less birds and it's all points. Again, it's points. So I said, basta with the points to me. To me, is Marius Klingel he's not much younger than I am. He's much older. But he says, go out there and choose your 5 races you want to win the year. I'm going to win the first race. I want to win the Young Bird National, the Derby, this lady race, and the last race. This is my 5. I'm going to put all the effort to win this 5 races. At least you've got a goal to work for. Or you go make 3 races. I'll put everything I've got into that, and I'll win it, and I feel like the champion for the year because I at least met my expectation. And there's another way to look at it, but this, and I had so many discussions, and I don't take anything away from union, federation, combine, whatever champions. They deserve it, they work hard for it. But it mustn't be the alpha and the omega. It mustn't be like killing the sport to keep that guy in. No, I'll rather break it up and have different guys winning different points and leave this combining points completely. Because I think that kills the sport. That's what I think.
So I completely agree on opening it up and having more accolades. Obviously, you keep the combine because
you can
just add to it, don't take away. Add to the achievements, add to the accolades.
Because I mean, that combine.
It's a tradition.
No, it's good, but it mustn't be the alpha and omega.
No, it mustn't be the only one because then you're breeding 120,000 pigeons. That's 100%.
No, he's the one-eyed king in the land of the blind. No, it's not. There's your short distance champion. He's a champion by himself. He needs to be recognized as the super combine champion or union champion, and he's there, and the middle and the long. And if they want to give an overall, they can give the overall. I don't care, but it mustn't be everything mustn't revolve just around the overall champion.
I want to talk about marketing and advertising. I want to make a point on politics. And you were saying, the youngster asked this and then he's in trouble and that. I think it actually really irritates me because these guys that are full on politics and nasty in the club, you must realize they are adverts for the sport. So when a youngster comes in there, you're an advert for the sport. So my challenge is stop being idiots in the club, stop fighting, stop creating politics and ugly feelings. This is a sport, we love it, we look how we talk for hours and whatever. Let's keep it positive, let's be a good advert for pigeons, for pigeon racing. Because you got young guys coming in there. This guy today, Russ, was saying he came in there, he saw the politics and he was like this. He could easily go, no, I'm not going to go to the club, I'm just going to do my one run, I'm not going to, that's an opportunity lost. I don't think you have the right, even if you're a great racer, you're a champion, or you're not, or whatever, no one has the right to create horrible feelings in the club. Politics should be kept outside.
And then one more thing I want to ask you guys, which when I was coming into the sport, there was a lot of social happening. So you could, pigeon auction, I couldn't afford them, but I would go to the pigeon auction because they were
and then the guy who bought the most expensive birds, you're like, Gwen, can I get you a coffee?
100%. So that we've lost completely. Which I think this new auction now, that Flightlines that he's starting, they want to bring back the old school, the social side of when you have an auction, you can still bid on pre-bidding on the internet, but the final will still be live auction day.
Very cool.
Like today, the auctioneer is Pine.
Oh, it's Pine. Cool.
So which is out of an answer. It's an experience again where. I didn't have pigeons, but I went to the auction and I, experienced, these guys are talking pigeons and handling birds and, the auction, just the whole vibe of it, which I think Flightlines is doing well to get back. Your opinion on that?
I would rather like not to give it because these pigeon houses, the platforms, were irritating me a little bit because when you bid on a bird and then you get outbid and just to see the bird get back onto the platforms, I don't like that.
Yes.
Where you've got like your auction today, I can put the face to the guy that puts up his finger and says, I'm going to buy the bird. Not that I want to get it or whatever, but he outbidded me. So I can take his hand and say, well, I think you bought a good bird. But now all of a sudden, when Russell starts bidding and then everybody's in there, and I don't say there's anything wrong maybe with it. It's the guy's choice what he wants to do. But then just to see the bird reoccurring on an auction later on as maybe a non-sale or the guy didn't pay the bird or
whatever excuse.
Then it's just back there again. So then I say to myself, I don't like that.
So you're asking more around social and
social.
I think for me. And that's why the whole being able to see your bird come and not have to go to the club, I think it's sad. I think I love the social of pigeons. like I said, we talk for hours. So the more opportunities, whether it be live auctions, whether it be the one loft races, the masters, you know, like it used to be at the $1 Million, everybody was there. You'd see old friends. I think the more opportunities we can sit around and talk pigeon shit, the better. So I think, and that's part of the marketing, is creating these events. And
social events,
and making sure people know, hey, there's an auction happening, just come and have a hot dog and a whatever. Versus you don't have to buy a bird. I think it's very needed in the sport.
If I can just get in there, I would say I would rather do the live strike out than going to the club on a Saturday, because there's the most fights there, because you've got your sore losers. You can't take it. But you've got to.
This was my point.
You've got a couple of
more
days.
idiots.
You've got a couple of days to cool down. So basketing mate, he's back there. He's socialising. He feels that way.
I'll give you my point of view on it. And I love the social on a Saturday.
Yeah.
To go in dry.
Even if you've lost on your ass.
I've lost my stuff. So I'd like to ask, what did you do this week? How are your returns? And all of that. But the reality is, with the live, the cheating gets a lot.
Especially if you've got
use the system, but still go for the strikeouts social.
So that's what our clubs do.
Use the systems, whatever systems keep everything most honest, use that system.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't, now the system means you can't go and talk.
That's
you can't go and shake a hand.
Our clubs, you got to still come to the club, but the system is in place. Because
also come to the club, because it's not just that gets done. There's moving a basket, there's washing the dishes, there's the club. If you don't have the luxury of just sitting back and whatever, there's work to be done on that.
You could be inviting guys to come to the strike.
Exactly.
Not pigeon guys. Which is happening in our club, then they've become pigeon guys.
Correct.
Or they've become.
And then you just solved it right there. Use the latest technology, so there's no more cheating in that.
Yeah.
But keep the social. Keep the sport and the spirit.
Except on the West End where they fight.
Just build a nice boxing ring in there and just do it properly and have a ref.
No, well, I mean, since I've been at IT, I think Saturdays were the worst days. When you go to the strikeout and guys get there,
Ours has been the best days.
They've been overserved a bit, you know, so, and then but Thursday nights basketing, everybody is cheered up and they lacquer for the week and they bought new medicine and got all these plans, and then when it fails on a Saturday, and I mean I'm telling you, Russell, I can sit there. The way the guy gets out of his car, I know that guy's got clocked well, or the way he gets out there, it looks like his whole frame is bent. I know that guy had a bad weekend.
That's why I'm a bad.
So, and you get there and you still need to be cheerful and you don't feel so like, to me, that I picked up since I liked it. That's the most fight that happened all over.
That's strange. I'm completely different. Our guys, I can only speak for our club. Our club on a Saturday night, it's very. Look, some of the guys are a little bit sad, but
everybody needs to be sad.
After a beer or two, everything's fine, and the drive's going, and the oaks are talking, and then it's fine again.
Yeah.
So
you're sad, but you're not holding the winner's head in the toilet saying you. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your. Cool. Sorry. So I just want to do one more thing. A lot of people maybe listening was like, they're talking the whole admin or whatever, and they didn't get a little tip, a little pigeon tip.
Okay, give us a tip.
So I'm pointing to Melt. I'm saying, Melt, you've got to give the guys one pigeon secret tip. One for the guys.
If one pigeon tip is that I can say is keep as little pigeons as possible, stock pigeons, and try to buy the best with your money.
Yeah.
So if another guy, it's not always the best pigeon that gets sold for the highest, but you need to go out there and select what you can afford. If you've got a 500 rand and another guy's got a 5,000 rand, you must always try and get the best for your 500 rand and feel great about it. And you'll build on that. That's how I've done it. I've never had the money and I had to build on that. So you can't compromise quality. And yeah, it's not always like I say the expensive ones. Like you say, I agree with you. The gifts are breeding the winners, and the most expensive ones not always. But I've also bought more expensive birds that bred super for me. But I would say concentrate on your stock of get less pigeons but quality pigeons in there, because that's where everything starts. And then get your birds to a healthy immunity, your immune system, and you know I'm going to use less medicine, but use the medicine. It's there for a reason. But you need to create a family of birds or a type of bird that works with your hand. And then you're going to have the results coming from that. But it's no use, I'm one victim at the moment, that I've expanded too much because I wanted to do sprints and I wanted to do all this, but I've started now to realize, to focus more on one point where I want to be, and I'll pull my circle much more. That's my tip that I can do.
Thanks, man.
Let's have one from you, Gareth.
That backfired. I guess the secret, it's not going to be a secret anymore, but I wean my babies to a race basket. So they, instead of going straight into the loft, they spend 4 days into the race basket.
Just explain that. So
into an actual...
Out of the nest?
Out of the nest.
Into
a race basket.
The steel race basket?
Steel race basket with the straw in, so it's comfortable, but the water's on the outside and the food's on the outside. Okay. And they learn to drink there, and hopefully that stays in their brain for when they're on a truck.
How many days do you do that?
4 days, about 4 days.
Very interesting.
Okay, can I just add on there where what I normally did, but I think was wrong.
Yeah.
I wean my babies directly into the race loft.
Yeah.
And that I picked up from Pippa. It was wrong. You wean them into a crash. They go into a crash where they sit at least a week. And there's other birds a little bit older, and so you're having all the same age there, and you do put one or two older birds in there. So then what they do is they know about where's the water, and they get confidence. And after that, you introduce them into their loft. But they first go into a crash.
Yeah, I think we need to do another program on tips there.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us.
Cool.
Enjoyed your meet today. And I'm sure the viewers will pick up, and I'm sure we'll do something going forward now to try and implement something for our sport that we're so passionate about. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thanks.